Hey everybody, welcome back to Everything MTG. My name is Justin. We're glad to have you here. So we're going to be covering some more of the Ravnica Allegiance spoilers today. I'll preface this by apologizing for not keeping up with them. There's 4 pages that I haven't gone through, but 12-hour work days, my child changing schools, has not left me a lot of time to do anything, let alone do some videos and some editing and things like that, and taking the time to upload the videos and whatnot. So we're just going to jump right in. That way we can get back on track here. Let me find my place. I have become lost. Alright, so we got Light Up the Stage, 200 red for a sorcery with Spectacle 1 red. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Really, really good card. Especially because it says until the end of your next turn. That's the defining feature that makes this card better than it could have been before. If it wasn't until your next turn, I would say this probably isn't that great. Silhana Wayfinder is 1 and a green for a 2/1 Elf Scout. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land from among them and put it onto the top of your library. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Your very typical elf effect, although this one I would say is probably worse than normal because it puts it on top of your library. And I think there's something in Standard now that does the exact same thing, but it puts it into your hand, if I'm not mistaken. If that is the case, I don't know why you would play this. Maybe because you want to play 8. You know, you want to play 4 of that and 4 of this one. But right now, this one doesn't look too good. Sphinx of New Prov is double white and double blue for a 4/3 Sphinx. Has flying and vigilance. Spells your opponent's cast that target Sphinx of New Prov cost 2 colorless more to cast. Not terrible. I mean, 4/3 for 4, flying and vigilance, and it takes an extra 2 to remove it. Although it's double blue and double white, which is going to make it pretty difficult to play. That's the only downside I see here. Otherwise, pretty good card. I'm not sure if that would be playable in limited, though. Probably not. Essence Capture is double blue for an instant. Counter target creature spell. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. Typical counter target creature spell. That's actually pretty sweet. The +1/+1 counter goes with the Simic adapt very, very well. So that's pretty sweet. Theater of Horrors is 1 red, 1 black, and 1 colorless for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. During your turn, if an opponent lost life this turn, you may play cards exiled with Theater of Horrors, essentially like a Spectacle style effect, and then you can pay 3 and 1 red. Theater of Horrors deals 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker, so that you may activate that effect if you don't have any other way of activating it. So, decent card. It does play right into the Spectacle effect. Pretty great. We've got Domri Chaosbringer, 2 and a red and a green. So 2 colorless, 1 red, 1 green for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. +1 is add red or green. If that mana is spent on a creature spell, it gains Riot. -3 is look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 creature cards from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And -8, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of each end step, create a 4/4 red and green beast creature token with trample. So he is very, very good. He's not kind of meh like, what's his name, Dovin Bond and Kaya. He is, in my opinion, quite clearly good. I would definitely play him in a Gruul deck. So, really nice. Kaya's Wrath is double white and double black for sorcery. Destroy all creatures. You gain life equal to the number of creatures you controlled that were destroyed this way. Basically, Wrath of God, except you gain life for wiping your own creatures. Although it's a little harder to cast because instead of 2 white and 2 colorless, it's 2 white and 2 black. Although with application in Commander, you'll be able to make this work. So that's pretty sweet. And the art on it looks really great. It's got Kaya on it. I always thought she was cool. She's killing the Obsidian Council, so that's funny. Mesmerizing Benthic is 3 colorless, 2 blue for a 4/5 octopus. When Mesmerizing Benthic enters the battlefield, create 2/0/2 blue illusion creature tokens with, whenever this creature blocks a creature. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Mesmerizing Benthic has hexproof as long as you control an illusion. This card is actually really good. It gives itself an own little bit of evasion with that illusion kind of thing, and you don't have to have those specific illusions that it makes to make sure it has hexproof. You can use, like, I think Departed Deckhand is an illusion. So this card is really good, and I guess that's why they printed it at Mythic Rarity. Hackrobat is 1, a black and a red for a 2/3 Human Rouge with Spectacle for 1 black and 1 red. You can pay black and it gains Death Touch until end of turn, and you can pay red and it gets +2/-2 until end of turn, which would make it a 4/1? Yeah. Not bad for 4, certainly not bad. For 2, the effect of giving it Death Touch is amazing, so this is definitely a playable card. Pretty great, actually. They're really doing a good job with these Spectacle cards. Kudos for that. Rakdos Roustabout is 1, a red and a black for a 3/2 Ogre Warrior. Whenever Rakdos Roustabout becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. So that's actually pretty good. It's always nice to get an additional effect even though you can't get through. It's kind of a form of trample, not really, because it only deals 1 damage, but if you're swinging on a planeswalker and somebody chump blocks you, the fact that you can get 1 through on that walker is pretty great. So good card in my opinion. We have Savage Smash, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 colorless for a sorcery. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It fights target creature you don't control. Very good fight control effect. Still not sure if it's as good as Rabid Bite. Rabid Bite, if I'm not mistaken, is 1 green and 1, and I said it might be an instant before in another video. I'm wrong. It's a sorcery. Although this does only cost 1 more, and it does give +2/+2, but it is a fight effect, not just a damage effect. So it has its applications, but I still think Rabid Bite in this scenario is better. Gruul Beastmaster is 3 and a green for a 2/2 Human Shaman with Riot. It's nice to see Riot on just regular green cards, like not red-green, just green. Whenever Gruul Beastmaster attacks, another target creature you control gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is Gruul Beastmaster's power. So that's actually really not bad. The effect of giving +X/+0, where X is its power, triggers really well with Riot, or you can make it a 2/2 Haster for 4, which is pretty garbage. So you would almost always want to Riot this for a +1/+1 counter, in my opinion. Sauroform Hybrid is a 1 green and 1 for a 2/2 Human Lizard Warrior with Adapt 4. You can pay 4 and double green to Adapt 4. Doesn't seem great. I mean, in the end, it's going to be a 6/6 for 8. So, seems bad, man. Otherwise, it's a bear. It's a 2/2 for 2. So I would play it in limited. I mean, that's probably about it. Gyre Engineer is 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 blue for a 1/1 Vedalken Wizard. You can tap it to add green and blue to your mana pool. Really good fixing card. I think that's great. It adds double of the color, so essentially this only costs 1, although you have to wait 1 turn for it to quote-unquote untap or lose its summoning sickness. But I would still play it. Good card. Burn Bright is 2 and a red for an instant. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Basically, what's that, like Trumpet Blast or Trumpet Horn or whatever? What'd you say? Yeah, Trumpet Blast. It's basically Trumpet Blast. I thought Trumpet Blast was in current standard meta, but I could be wrong. It is. Yeah. Oh, weird reprint then. Unbreakable Formation is 2 and 1 white for an instant. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Not bad. Addendum, if you cast this spell during your main phase, put a 1/1 counter on each of those creatures, and they gain vigilance until end of turn. So that's a, oh, you're about to blow up my whole board on your turn, protect them all, and that's also a, oh, it's my turn and I'm going to blow you out right now. So that's a really effective card. The art on it also looks super sweet. Trollbred Guardian is 4 and a green for a 5/5 Troll Frog Warrior. I love the subtypes on all of these Simic cards. It's so great. I love like weird subtypes. So you have 2 and a green, and it can adapt 2. So it can get up to a 7/7, and each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it has Trample, which if you're playing Simic is a very likely chance of that happening. So this card's actually pretty good. 5/5 for 5, it's got the Adapt 2, pretty cheap, and then it gives everything Trample if they have a 1/1 counter on it. Skatewing Spy is 3 and a blue for a 2/3 Vidalcan Rogue Mutant. You can pay 5 and 1 blue to adapt 2, and each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it has flying. I would actually say this one is definitely better than the one that gives them trample, because flying always trumps trample, in my opinion. It costs 1 less, but the power and toughness is much less. The adapt is the same, although the cost to adapt is about double. But if you get them both together, I mean, it's almost like a Slivers thing where they just start pumping everything else with different effects. It's pretty crazy. Combine Gild Mage is green and a blue for a 2/2 Merfolk Wizard, always with the Merfolks. 1 and 1 green, you can tap it. This turn, each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. Or 1 and blue, tap it, move a 1/1 counter from target creature you control onto another target creature you control. Well, Atraxa says hi. That's what I can say about this card. It goes with Adapt pretty well, extremely well, I would say. And it is definitely going to probably see play in Atraxa. I don't see why it wouldn't. Being able to move those 1/1 counters is super important. Great card overall. Galloping Lizrog. Galloping Lizrog, yeah. 3, a green and a blue for a 3/3 frog lizard, hence Lizrog. Has trample. It enters the battlefield. You may remove any number of 1/1 counters from among creatures you control. If you do, you put twice that many 1/1 counters on Galloping Lizrog. Very good effect, especially since it has trample. It would be easily removable with like a murder or something like that, but burning it probably is not going to happen. Although I suppose you could burn it in response to its trigger going off, so you'd end up removing all those 1/1 counters and then somebody could burn it. And that would be pretty unfortunate. So you'd have to be careful with that. But otherwise, very potentially powerful card. We have Syndicate Gild Mage, 1 white, 1 black for a 2/2 Human Cleric. You can pay 1 and 1 white to tap it. Tap target creature with power 4 or greater. Or you can pay 4 and 1 black to tap it. Syndicate Gild Mage deals 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. This card, in my opinion, is not very good. A lot of the Gild Mages are kind of like meh this time around. I mean, the Combine Gild Mage is obviously great, but this one, in my opinion, is essentially unplayable. I mean, unless you're going to play it in limited as, you know, just a creature, because it's a 2/2 for 2. Orzhov Racketeers is 4 and a black for a 3/2 human rogue. Whenever Orzhov Racketeers deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. It has Afterlife 2. Very effective card. Yes, it's a 3/2 for 5, but it does have the Afterlife 2, which I think makes it playable. Dealing the combat damage to a player and making them discard a card is also supremely annoying. Nobody wants to discard cards. So I think that's a pretty great effect on this card. Really good. Ministrant of Obligation. 2 and 1 white for a 2/1 Human Cleric with Afterlife 2. Very basic effect, but it is a good card. 2/1 is able to kill most things within the 1 to 3 CMC range. Also with the Afterlife 2, so you get those extra swings or extra blockers in the air if you need them. Great effect. Archway Angel. 5 and 1 white for a 3/4 Angel with flying. When Archway Angel enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each gate you control. I know they're trying to put a gate sub-theme into this set, and I do believe that's cool. They should, you know, experiment and do things like that, but I don't see anybody playing this. It's a 3/4 for 6 with flying. And yes, you gain 2 life for each gate you control, but in most circumstances, the most you're going to control is 8. And the real question becomes, who's playing guild gates when you have shock lands and check lands in current meta? Maybe after those rotate out, the check lands, possibly people are going to be playing gates, depending on what lands they print in the coming sets or whatever. But this, until that point, this will never see play, pretty much ever, maybe in limited. Even in limited, I'm not so sure. We have Bedeck and Bedazzle. Bedeck is a instant spell, as a split spell. It is 2 hybrid black or red mana, so you can play 2 black, 2 red, or any combination thereof. Target creature gets +3/-3 until end of turn. Good little pump, good decent bout of removal. And we have Bedazzle, which is 4, 1 black, 1 red for an instant. Destroy target non-basic land. Bedazzle deals 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. I actually think this card's really good, and the defining feature of that is it can deal 2 damage to a planeswalker while also destroying their, not the Search for Azcanta, the enchantment, but the Ruins of Azcanta or whatever it is that flips into the land. That is amazing. Or a Treasure Cove, it would work on that too, and dealing that 2 damage is great, although it does cost 6, which is really expensive. But you could use it for this removal, double black, double red removal, so that's not bad at all. Immolation Shaman is 1 and a red for a 1/3 Viashino Shaman, Viashino all day. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land that is not a mana ability, Immolation Shaman deals 1 damage to that player, so that'll probably happen pretty often. 3 and double green, Immolation Shaman, 3 and double red, my mistake. Immolation Shaman gets +3/+3 and gains Manache, Menace, till end of turn. Not bad, that would make it a 4/6 for 2. Although you're going to have to pay 5 to make that happen, but the fact that it deals 1 damage to the player whenever they activate an ability of an artifact, creature, or land, and it's not a mana ability, that could happen pretty frequently, especially in a commander game. I think that's a great card. Terramander is 1 blue for a 1/1 Salamander Drake with flying. You can pay 7 and 1 blue to adapt 4. This is definitely playable in limited. Nothing like a 1/1 flyer for 1, and if you manage to get to 8 mana in that game because it's stalled out so long, you're going to be blowing people away with this card. So I think that is amazing for limited. Cult Gild Mage is 1 black, 1 red for a 2/2 Human Shaman. You can pay 3 and 1 black to tap it. Target player discards a card. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. Or you can pay 1 red and tap it to deal 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. So again, it's not a bad Gild Mage. It's very meh, though. I mean, it's a 2/2 for 2. The 3 and 1 black to tap it and target player discards a card actually isn't that bad. I wish it said each opponent discards a card, though. That would be much better, but probably too overpowered. Dealing 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker for 1 red and tap is not bad at all. So this could see some play, but I mean, it could definitely be better. We have Warrant and Warden, another split card. Warrant is 2 hybrid blue or white mana. For an instant, put target attacking or blocking creature on top of its owner's library. Very good effect. And Warden, 3/1 white, 1 blue for a sorcery. Create a 4/4 white and blue Sphinx creature token with flying and vigilance. So this could definitely be a playable split card. Creating a 4/4 Sphinx with flying and vigilance for 5 isn't honestly that bad, but I think it would see most play for... What's that? Okay. But I think it would see most play for the Warrant ability. You know, it's not a Settle the Wreckage or anything, but it is pretty good to take an attacking or blocking creature and put it on top of... Is it target? It is target, so that's kind of unfortunate. But it is nice to put that on top of their library. That's going to be annoying for your opponent because you're screwing over their next draw, too. Senate Gild Mage is 1 blue, 1 white for a 2/2 Human Wizard. You can pay white, tap it to gain 2 life, or you can pay blue, tap it to draw a card, and then discard a card. This is a pretty good example excuse me, of a good Gild Mage. Paying white and tapping it for 2 is, whatever. But paying blue and tapping it to draw a card and then discard a card, your typical blue loot effect, is actually pretty great. So you just have to hope that this thing doesn't get shocked until it loses that summoning sickness. Next up, we have Thrash and Threat, another split card. Thrash is 2 red or 2 green hybrid mana. Instant, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. So basically, Rapid Bite, except it's at instant speed, which is better. And, I mean, essentially it costs, well, it doesn't cost the same because Rapid Bite's 1 green and 1 colorless. This is 1 green or 1 red, times 2. And then we have Threat, which is 2 a red and a green for a sorcery. Create a 4/4 red and green beast creature token with trample. So I think this will definitely see play, especially in Gruul decks. That Thrash is a very good effect, in my opinion. It does beat Rapid Bite, especially if you're playing in those colors. You should definitely be able to cast that. And then the last one we're going to cover for today, just so this video isn't like 40 minutes. I'm going to split it into 2 videos here, is Benthic Biomancer, 1 blue for a 1/1. Merfolk Wizard Mutant. You can pay 1 and a blue to adapt 1, and whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on Benthic Biomancer, draw a card, and then discard a card, aka loot. This is amazing, especially in limited. This would be so good in limited. It is a rare, though, which is kind of unfortunate. But a 1/1 for 1 in limited is never bad. Adapting on turn 2 with it is great, so then you have a 2/2 for 1 essentially. And then whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters gets put on it, you get to loot. I mean, and it fixes your opening hand essentially. So this is an amazing card for limited. Outside of limited, I don't know, you know blue decks, this might actually see play. I wouldn't be surprised. But anyways, guys, appreciate you keeping up with the spoilers with me. I apologize again for the spoilers being late due to, you know, real life circumstances, whatever. If you guys are enjoying the spoilers and the way that I'm covering them, minus, you know, barring the fact that they're a little late, throw a like out there, subscribe with anybody that might not know about the spoilers, or is interested in Magic the Gathering content, Magic the Gathering Arena, booster boxes, which we will be opening one of these whenever we get the opportunity. Other than that, we'll see you guys next time right here on Everything MTG. Peace.